Hello, my friends. Welcome to another drawing session with me. Uh, if you've been following along, you know that I am preparing for Graphic Novel Pro at the School of Visual Storytelling. Excited about that for sure, and I'm just trying to work a little bit on face structure, a little bit on anatomy, and then just kind of getting my chops back because I've been teaching for the last 15 years. I've done commissions along the way, but I certainly have not been working on my illustration skills on the capacity that would allow me to produce an incredible graphic novel. Now, 2016, I did produce one comic of the Legend of Harapan called Origin, but we're trying to do more than that. We want to get the story out there. I want to get the story out there. Okay, so we've got a few pages here that I worked on yesterday. This was looking at some work by Ben Eblin. I have since found him on YouTube. I think I found it on Instagram, like one of his drawing sheets on Pinterest. And then that led me to find him on Instagram, and then I wanted to see if he had any tutorials, which he does. He's actually a very good teacher, so that's really encouraging. So he's also on YouTube. So if you're working on drawing, figuring out your style, I like his style a lot because it's based on fundamentals, but it's also creative and expressive. He tends to have characters that look like they have the kind of personalities and things that are great for telling stories the way that I want to tell my story. So that's sort of why I'm choosing his style. There are some elements of his style that really resonate with me. So this is a lot rougher and choppier. I was not looking at any photo reference, and you can see how scratchy and ugly it is. I'm using Copic markers to start with, and then I love these ink pens, the Sakura ink pens. Really like those. This guy right here. However, I'm not skilled enough at it yet to be able to put it on marker paper, and I tend to run my hand through the ink and get it, smear it and everything. So this is a whole nother challenge that still is being conquered right now. So what I usually do is Prismacolor color pencil on top of the marker, and this is really just for sketching. I have a different process for actually producing work for the comic book, but I like how smooth the paper is and how easily things flow, but also your ability to press down a little bit harder and get your darks and your lights. So you kind of have a nice ability to do it. But because it's smooth, it doesn't feel like I have to really press down a lot to get the marks on the page. So that's kind of why I'm using the material I'm using. I just prefer it than paper with a little bit more tooth. Okay, this was a page I did without looking at any photo reference. And this, to be completely honest, these characters are a little bit more in my style. These were looking at something online. Again, I think it was Ben Eblin's skeletons to people kind of a thing. So I was sort of imitating that, and I was playing around a little bit. I wasn't trying to make them super accurate or look alike. They do have some similarities, but the jaw, I think, and the bottom teeth are probably way different, but there is some similarity there. But these two characters are kind of in my style. I tend to draw like a little more cartoony than some of the artwork that I like. It's so funny to have a style of sorts that's um, it's not your favorite style. That's kind of weird. You would think that you would continue to work until your style was what you like really liked seeing. But this style always comes back to me. It's sort of cartoony and caricaturized. So even when I want to do something more gritty or more edgy, it's very hard for me to do that. It's just not the way that I am. This is not really my personality, I guess. So I get maybe that's why it's so challenging to draw artwork. And I love some of that stuff that's really gritty and captivating and like just it's got a hard edge to it sometimes. I sort of like some of that stuff, but it's just not my skill set, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I can continue to work and do it, or maybe I don't know. So this is a character, and I'm playing with this because one of the challenges that we have for my stage of development and illustration is to draw 3 portfolio pieces. So this is my main character, Caden. He's a courier on the island of San Sebastian, so he delivers all kinds of things. He's delivering an Icy to this character that I'm working on, and this guy's name is IC93, and so he's kind of a humanoid. He's part human and part robot, but his name is IC93, and he often says Icy, and Caden will bring him an Icy. So he's enough human that obviously he can eat and drink and all of that stuff, but he's also part robot, and a good chunk of him is robotic. So while he's doing this, he's being monitored by this drone, and this does not capture it as much as I want to. Let me grab another piece. Okay. This was my initial kind of rendering of this, and I like this much better, and maybe I might be trying to do too much in one page. So he's going through the market, and the market is, they might have some cobblestone. Much of their little village, it's kind of a sprawling village, but is more dirt roads. There's not a ton of paved area. There is a section that has pavement, and there's a reason for that. But I wanted him to have his courier bag sliding like he's coming down into an alley trying to lose these drones. And then I'm listening to these professional illustrators talk about how your story needs to be really interesting. Don't just make it super simple. And I'm like, well, I guess he could be in the middle of delivering something too. It's like, and now the whole focus has changed. Now he looks all happy or something. I don't know. He does not look as focused on getting out of Dodge. And I think this is just not, this is more, sorry, the top one, this is way more the feel and the spirit of what I had in mind. If he's kind of sliding in, trying to escape. He actually, there's some indication here that there's something in his bag, and I don't know, I want there to be enough information there that people could kind of piece together what's going on, and by trying to add a whole nother layer of his personality and who he is by adding this character and that he's actually delivering something, it doesn't feel like he's sliding in the same way. It doesn't feel like the drone is the focus of his attention. It just, I don't know. So much of it just doesn't feel right. So I think the spirit of this is good. Now, part of the problem I have is this atmosphere here. There will not be sculpted sidewalks in his village. They just don't have that kind of, I don't think there will be. So, and these little grates for water to drain down, that seems a little bit too city. Now, there are other parts of a separate island that have much more technology, but he comes from a very rural place, and so there might be trash cans and things like that there for sure, because they pick up scraps and flotsam and things that wash ashore. So at any rate, there's going to be a lot of corrugated metal, tin walls and roofs, and the marketplace, will have a lot of handmade sort of items, but just very low technology, which is hopefully going to contrast. Hopefully everything in this environment is a sharp contrast to these couple of drones that are flying in, because this technology should seem way out of place for everything else in the scene, which that part is not 100% sure that that's rhyming yet. So that is the thing. I want him sliding in. I want the courier bag kind of shifting with the momentum this way as he's starting to pedal out of his slide. He's knocked some items off out to the side in his rush to get down this alley. Also, I might be able to narrow the alley. That was just a thought that just came to me, possibly. And then it becomes do they circle around inside the alley, or like does this block kind of the flow of their pathway so it looks like they're behind him, and then it gives a nice sharp black edge for these garbage items to be in the foreground. So then instead of feeling like this drone almost feels like it could be in front of him, this one might by its size be behind him. I need to layer that, I think, to really communicate, okay, he's entering the alleyway. Maybe if he slams these things kind of into the alleyway. In fact, I could even kind of knock that right there. But the big question is, I think we want to block those things out. So, but I would want one of their curves to look like it's sort of here. Interesting. I don't know. That's something to think about where do we want this alleyway to be. The other thing is, visually, it's not very interesting if this is just flat black, so I don't know if you put some kind of window up here and if that then distracts and steals attention, or if I should have them just zoom in front of the black, because visually it would be so much more powerful. That's an interesting thing. So another thing to think about as I kind of develop this portfolio piece. So yeah, there's that. And then this is my buddy IC93. Let's see. And he's going to be a character that speaks in kind of 2 words, sentences. Like he doesn't really speak on a level that's super comprehensible. So, but I intend for him to be a kind of adorable character as far as personality goes, but not super relatable at first. So maybe over time there's more to his story maybe. But for now, just IC93. And he says too tired anytime Caden comes by and delivers him stuff. I don't know. Those are some thoughts that were just flipping through my head. So what I want to do is work a little bit off of a pin board that I created in Pinterest. That has a lot of BMX bikes and sliding, because I've known for a while my main character Caden, being a courier, that's going to be one of his big things that he does, is he rides his bike, he delivers things. He's going to be extremely good at riding, and that's just one of the things that makes him attractive, hopefully, as a hero. That's just one of the elements. He does have a pretty agreeable personality. So we got bicycle drawings, but I don't think that's what it was. Let's get in here. Dirt bike slides is what I've got. This is for when he will eventually, on down the road, upgrade his bike. So I don't think that's what I want. Let me get another one. Let's do. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. My goodness. Man, people are just amazing on their bikes. I'm looking at Pinterest right now, and you got a ton of different things. Now, I'm not looking for... This is more trick-related, people jumping in the air and all that stuff. I'm really looking for somebody sliding in the dirt. A lot of red bubble stuff. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of red bubble stickers, which show very cool things. Just do bicycle drawings. Oh my, here's a good one. Let's do this. Bicycle drawings. Let's see if I can expand this to full page. Wow. Okay. Got something really nice here. Oh, what's wrong with my... there we go. Oh. Sorry, I got my pencil sharpener right next to my microphone. I bet that's super loud and annoying. Good. Alright. See here. This is an N5. I don't want my N5. I want my N2. There's my N2. That's what I'm into, yo. So... Man, this is so fantastically, wonderfully beautiful angle here. Super difficult to draw. So that's a fantastic challenge. But what's even better is the anatomy. You've got somebody writing this. And one of the most difficult things is combining two objects together, particularly when one of those objects is a human being. Oh man, there's just so much to kind of focus on, and if you don't have something to look at, you're kind of guessing as to how a person might, especially with a bike, what the proportions are really going to look like. And you know, this camera, whatever this is, the focal length of the lens is probably affecting the perspective of this in a major way. But, wow, okay, so, oh, okay, whoa, I got angles wrong. How did I get it that wrong? Wow, okay, so the seat is more like that. Tell you what, buddy, this stuff. It's amazing how hard it is to really understand how the shape of the body changes depending on angles, because the body itself is so dynamic, so many different moving parts all the time. It can just be, wow, just really... Yeah, so this leg, even though you don't see it, kind of comes down to the pedal like this. And this leg, this is like I would never in a million years draw the legs like this if I'm drawing this picture. I mean, you could tell from the one I drew, I only had one sort of idea for how I might make this look somewhat realistic. And, yeah, wow. So he's kind of really all right. So there, that's a good little study on. Now he's got eyes up, so his head is tilted a little bit further back. So yeah, so his eyes look like they're going this direction. All right, so the handlebars here, hand right there, forearm going across, blocking the chin. Crazy, crazy. And then he's coming obviously down a hill, so there's all this kind of dust kicking up over here, and that hill is like kind of, it's like a berm. He's sort of coming around the berm. So he's kind of sliding it and kicking this dirt up and around here. Yep, and then there's all kinds of trees and things in the background. So that's kind of cool. From his shoulder. Yeah, what's crazy though is I haven't drawn it completely accurate because the handlebars and the shoulder are actually lined up and almost pointing almost perfectly vertical. So the hand actually ends up being right in here. So he's really got that pushed out feel to it. Like he is, it just feels like he's pushing himself to the absolute limit. That is sort of what the vibe of it is, and I like that for the character of Caden. That is just part of his DNA. He likes to challenge himself. So wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the hill goes through this portion, kind of up like this. So, sort of went up through there and around. And then there's another portion that it came down right there. You got a lot of bushes, got a lot of trees. Background here. Dotting the landscape. There's a lot of trees right here. Yep. And then you've got this sort of feeling of he's jumping into the scene. So you got a nice zigzag feel to the photograph, of course. You got some nice cast shadows on the ground here from the sun coming through. So you got a lot of cool visual lighting. You got some hot spots of light dropping in, hot spots happening on the dust, which is kind of cool. So yeah. Yep. Whoop. Popped my glasses off. Alright. Oh, I like it. There's a lot of energy in it. Lots of energy. Now, I hadn't envisioned Caden wearing a helmet because I always pictured his kind of blonde surfer-like hair, but then I just realized if this is going to be a book that kids really enjoy, might be a wise move to give them an example of what to do, not what not to do, since Caden is the hero. think the other thing that's really helpful when you're looking at photo reference is it's so much easier to see what overlaps with what. And I would probably be well served to get some 3D models that I might be able to turn around on the computer or something to look at, because bicycles are one of those things that, like human beings, have a lot of different parts. The twisting and the turning of the handlebars, the angle with which things happen shifts quite a bit, and so just might be smart. I think the other thing is a lot of times I will draw something and I won't be okay yet not detailing something that really doesn't need much detail. And what I mean by that is, like, I'll spend all this time on hands when really that's not the focus of the drawing, right? In the grand scheme of what the picture's depicting, just a little bit of a suggestion is enough for the viewer to get what's going on. And I think learning how to gauge what's most important, how to best communicate that, and allow a little bit of simple shape language to communicate the rest, and let that be enough. I think that's really going to be a cool part of my development. Now, of course, I got to put the carrier bag on. Of course, I'm making this up as I go, so I have no idea what that actually would look like. Just have it on there swinging around. I'm sure that's completely inaccurate, which is fine. Now, he on San Sebastian is going to be wearing pretty simple clothing. I haven't 100% decided on what his kind of day-to-day is going to be. I think when he gets to the main island later on in the story, his clothing will change to be so he can fit in a little bit more with folks on the island. But I'm already thinking about what that needs to look like. All right, so here's the thing that I know needs to happen. Oh, that's interesting. It's not on this side. So even as I sit there and say I know something needs to happen, I'm missing. So I got to pay attention here. But the crank arm, okay, is coming out this side. The actual gears in the chain are on the right side of the bike. This is the left looking at this, so I've got to be very conscientious that I keep that consistent. But what I was going to say is the ellipse of the crank wheel needs to be parallel to the ellipse of the back tire. Now, the front tire obviously is independent and rotates independently of everything else, but the back tire and the crank arm always stay on the same plane. So it's very important that I use those in conjunction with each other so to make this look a little more believable, because ellipses are one of those things that are not easy. They need attention and they communicate a lot, and if they're not done well, they become a major distraction, visual distraction, and that's bad. So that's another reason why photo reference can really help, is because the angle of the ellipses can be very elusive, and it's just nice to have a little bit of reality there guiding you. So this is almost like a full circle, not quite, but this ellipse is way rounder than these ellipses. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's just simply that handlebars turn, but then I think also where they are in reference to the camera also affects some of that. Meaning you're gonna, because it's closer to the camera, you might be able to see a little bit more the roundness of that tire. So even if he had turned the handlebar straight, you might have a little bit of distortion happening. And you want to account for that because the eyes are expecting to see that, and if it's not there, it can look too rigid or not realistic, or yeah. Cool. I mean, I feel like I'm learning stuff here as I'm drawing. I always want to be at this stage in the game. I'm trying to learn and pick up a lot, as much as I can. Yes, this is very cool. So the dirt trail of skidding tells a great story, and I know this from riding bikes because I used to mountain bike quite a bit, just recreational, never competitively. But you will, if you are sliding into a slide, your tires no longer align in the dirt, and so when you're done, you will actually have two tracks, one from the front tire and one from the back tire, and that's what's starting to happen here. They've slid out of alignment. Not in a bad way, in the way that you would expect them to. And I was just inferring that that would happen without actually looking at the photograph. And then when I looked at the photo, I was right. So it helps to have like personal experience as well with whatever you're drawing, if at all possible. That's not always possible. Like if I were going to do a special ops comic, that would be really hard for me because I have no experience doing any kind of operations, military operations, other than what we did as kids pretending to play war. I mean, that doesn't exactly bring in a level of detail or authenticity, I should say. But I have done mountain biking, and so there is, I've ridden a lot of mountain biking. Good morning. Maybe I'll take a sip of coffee and get my words figured out. Yummy, yummy, yum. Oh my goodness, time is up. This is a shame. I'll tell you, this was very difficult early on, kind of setting, because I basically am waking up earlier than I've ever woken up in my life before. Not really, but I'm choosing to do this early morning because it's just the easiest, quietest time of the day. And I get up before I start filming to have my quiet time to read and to pray and to do those things. So I had to bump my wake up time, which means I have to go to sleep a little bit earlier and so on and so forth. So when I first started this, it was really difficult. Yesterday I was kind of dragging a little bit, not too bad, but I wasn't feeling like 100% on. And then today I got up earlier because my body has started to adjust, and then the weird thing is I wanted to talk a lot because I was excited. Then that's kind of another form of lollygagging and procrastination that creeps in, and so now I'm out of time. I feel like I didn't get quite as much practice as I would have liked to get, although this idea is good enough as a study, and I did pick up some things. But yeah, I got to get down, feed the dog, and get on to school. But guys, I just want to thank everybody for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully there was something that helped you. If there was, please comment below, or if you want to see something else or hear about something else or know anything about my process, or if I can help you in any way, just comment down below. All right, and as always, have a great day.